Hello and welcome to NTA News International. I'm Ayo Deji. Makinde first, the headlines. Nigeria pledges support for Republic of Chad in local and international aspirations. President Buhari inaugurates a big-way modular refinery with 50,000 barrels production capacity per day. United Kingdom to support Borno State's 25-year implementation plan. Plus, Senate receives executive communication requesting confirmation of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu as chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission for a second term. The federal government says Nigeria will always be there for the Republic of Chad in view of long-standing brotherhood and good neighborliness. President Muhammadu Buhari made the pledge while receiving a special envoy from President Idris Deby, Itno of Chad. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the details.
President Muhammadu Buhari said Nigeria appreciates the support she is getting in tackling insecurity from the neighboring Chad Republic. He described as unfortunate the problem Chad is facing with Libya, which supports some rebels trying to destabilize the country. The president expressed worry that the instability in Libya after 42 years of Muammar Gaddafi affects all the countries in the Sahel region, from Mauritania to Central African Republic. Gaddafi, he said, recruited gunmen who learned to do nothing else than to kill. And when the former leader was killed, the gunmen escaped with their arms and are wreaking havoc all across the region. President Buhari expressed Nigeria's gratitude to Chad for the diverse kinds of support given to combat the Boko Haram insurgency, saying the federal government will always stand by the neighboring country in its local and international aspirations. The Special Envoy and Chadian Minister of Foreign Affairs, African Integration and Chadians Abroad, Amin Abbas Siddiq, conveyed a message from President Idris Deby, whom he said sent fraternal greetings to President Muhammadu Buhari and Nigerians in general. Details contained in the message were, however, not made public. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In response to launching a 25-year development plan by Governor Babagana Umara Zulum, the United Kingdom has pledged to support Borno in some aspects of implementation stages. This was announced by a special envoy from the UK's Foreign Affairs Minister, Nicholas Dyer, at the Government House in Maiduguri on Monday. Mr. Nicholas was accompanied by the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Catriona Liang, and some few officials of the High Commission, and they say they are in Nigeria to see facts on ground in the northeast, having visited few of the IDP's camp and to have a conversation with His Excellency, the state's governor, to see what the facts are on the ground and to see how the UK government can support the states of its vision. Responding, Governor Babagana Umara Zulum expressed appreciation to the government of the United Kingdom for their continuous humanitarian and technical support to the northeast. The governor cited factors that include lack of job opportunities, hunger and illiteracy as the root causes of the insurgency, which he said requires long and sustainable solution to address. The Ministry of Petroleum Resources, DPR, and NNPC have been directed to give the necessary support to Watersmith Refining and Petrochemical Company, including access to crude oil and condensate feedstock towards expanding the capacity of its modular refinery to 50,000 barrels per day. President Muhammadu Buhari gave the directive at a virtual inauguration of the company's 5,000 barrels per day modular refinery in Imo State. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the details.
The Walter Smith Modular Refinery, first and the largest so far in Nigeria, has a crude oil storage capacity of 60,000 barrels and is projected to deliver over 271 million liters per annum of refined petroleum products, including kerosene, diesel, and heavy fuel oils to the domestic market. Presently refining 5,000 barrels per day, the company is looking at 50,000 barrels per day refining capacity that will come with a planned additional 2 modules, which will then add PMS, aviation fuel, and LPG to the product slates. President Muhammadu Buhari is delighted that after many years of giving licenses for the establishment of modular refineries by successive governments without success, one has formally come on stream within 2 years of the commencement of his administration's refinery roadmap.
The development of modular refineries represents one of the 4 key elements of our refinery roadmap rolled out in 2018, aimed at addressing the challenges in the downstream sector to meet our local needs and eliminate importation of petroleum products. The realization of the refinery roadmap will ultimately lead us to becoming a net exporter of petroleum products, not only to our neighboring countries, but to worldwide market.
The president noted with satisfaction the increased momentum in the other 3 focus areas of the roadmap, covering the rehabilitation of existing refineries, collocation of new refineries, and construction of greenfield refineries.
In line with our agenda on job creation, I am pleased to note that hundreds of direct and indirect jobs were created during the construction of the first phase of the project, in addition to the various business opportunities. There is no doubt that the construction of the second phase of the project will create bigger additional employment opportunities. Let me use this opportunity to congratulate the local community and the people of Imo State for hosting this refinery, which I trust will bring prosperity and economic development.
Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State said Imolites cannot thank President Buhari enough for his deliberate efforts at encouraging a truly private sector-driven economy.
Imo State is today the first proud beneficiary of these visionary policies. President Buhari is the undisputed champion of walking the talk, of ensuring private sector participation in an economy that has always been public sector driven. This can only come from a visionary leadership that is focused and determined to make life for the citizens more meaningful.
This is only the beginning. After now, there are a lot of other refineries in line to be commissioned. And we are hoping that very soon the in-country capacity to refine will be up to as much as 250,000 barrels per day. Today marks an important occasion and indeed a milestone in our quest to ensure robust energy independence through gradual reduction in the importation of petroleum products into our country.
Walter Smith obtained license for the modular refinery in June 2015, got the authority to construct in March 2017, commenced construction in October 2018, and delivered in less than 24 months ahead of schedule, thereby beginning to change the narrative in the nation's struggle towards securing petroleum products for domestic consumption. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Now let's talk some legislative matters. The Senate has received executive communication requesting the confirmation of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu as chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission for a second term. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that the request is in line with the provision of Section 154, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended.
It is the first Senate plenary in the last 1 month. Legislative business had shifted to the committee rooms for budget defense. The day's plenary took off with President of the Senate Ahmed Lawan reading letters from President Muhammadu Buhari for confirmation of appointments.
I am pleased to present for confirmation by the Senate the nomination of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu for appointment as chairman Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) for a second and final term.
Senate also received requests for the confirmation of the appointment of 7 nominees as chairman and members of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, with Hussaini Kangiwa as chairman. 8 nominees for Governing Council of the Hydropower Producing Areas, with Joseph Tofa as chairman. The legislators raised concern on what they described as a precarious state of Nigeria's aviation sector. A motion by Senator Adamu Alero urged the federal government to ease the financial burden on airline operators by implementing its orders on zero customs and import duties and the removal of VAT for airline operators.
The placement of NCAA 5% ticket sales charge with a fixed charge similar to FAN passenger service charge.
Nigeria, we are not saying it's a must to give them a palliative, but let us allow the aviation industry in the next 3 years to be tax-free so that they could manage this aircraft very well.
Request the Central Bank of Nigeria to make foreign exchange readily and easily accessible for the sector and make the interest rate a single digit for airlines, which will reduce the cost of capital.
2 senators, Biodun Olujimi and Gashon Basi, moved motions urging the federal government to set up a panel to visit all states where properties were destroyed during the NSAS protest and to give the states 1% of VAT benefit to assist them rebuild the structures.
Urge the federal government to establish a special economic assistance to Lagos State.
As the NSAS victims are being compensated, so also the victims of banditry should also be compensated.
The Senate has approved the refund of 148.1 billion naira to 5 states of Bayelsa, Cross River, Ondo, Osun and River State for projects executed on behalf of the federal government. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has passed for second reading the Petroleum Industry Bill. The bill, whose journey began in the 5th Assembly, seeks the wholesale development of the oil and gas subsector through improved regulation, revenue generation, investment and development of host communities. Debate on the general principles of the bill witnessed bipartisan support in the Green Chamber as lawmakers stressed that the PIB is the vehicle that will drive unprecedented reforms in the petroleum industry. Tuesday's plenary also featured the adoption of a matter of urgent public importance on the need to reinforce security in Chibok and Damboa local government areas. The third quarter meeting of the Central Bank of Nigeria Monetary Policy Committee meeting has ended with a call for targeted investments by the fiscal authorities to resuscitate critical infrastructure and improve ease of doing business across the country. Correspondent Chimobi Walter Naji reports that 10 members of the committee were present at the 2-day meeting.
The continued impact of COVID-19 on the global and Nigerian economy. Many financial experts had projected a review of the monetary policy rates in an attempt to reinvigorate the Nigerian economy as the outlook on broader economy remains largely uncertain. This decision by members of the Monetary Policy Committee to retain the key lending rates at 11.5% while retaining the asymmetric corridor at plus 100 and minus 700 basis points around the MPR is to help ensure liquidity and growth in the economy. While presenting the communique, the CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele said the MPC also resolved through a unanimous vote to retain the liquidity ratio at 30%, while cash reserve ratio CRR was left unchanged at 27.5%.
Available data and forecasts for key macroeconomic variables also suggest optimism in output growth during the fourth quarter of 2020 due to the positive outlook for most economic activities. Accordingly, the economy is expected to recover from the recession by the end of 2020, while the inflation is projected to moderate by the first quarter of 2021.
The governor, while blaming the fall in Purchasing Managers Index on the recent NSAS crisis in the country, noted that decision of the committee to retain the controlling rate was informed by the need to observe the impact of steps already taken under a massive intervention plan to save the economy from COVID-19 pressures. It is expected of the committee, however, that the country will experience a positive GDP growth by the first quarter of 2021. In Abuja, Chimubi Walter Naji, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International. More stories when we return. You're welcome back. The Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, says the best way to play politics in Nigeria is to deliver good governance. The minister, while interacting with journalists in Abuja on the activities of the ministry under the Buhari administration, also believes that the All Progressives Congress will retain power in 2023 if the party keeps its promises to the people. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
Globally, both the developed and developing countries are currently faced with economic challenges due to the coronavirus pandemic. As a fast-developing economy, Nigeria is not an exception in the current global realities. One of the country's area of attention is the provision of critical infrastructure like roads and housing to serve as a bedrock to strengthen the social contract between the government and the citizens. In view of this, the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, says 711 road contracts covering 13,000 kilometers and the positive transformation in the housing sector across the country are the priority of the Buhari administration.
So you are driving through progress. How you will know is that if you are using the road, like Enugu to Port Harcourt, you will know that your travel time has reduced. Journeys that needed you to go for 2 days to return, you can go same day and come back, even though we haven't finished. And the way to get the best out of those roads is first to use them properly.
Reacting to some political developments affecting the APC, the minister urged party faithful to respect and support the party's caretaker committee to enable them achieve their mandate.
If there is a crisis that has now led us to have a caretaker committee, we must also respect the caretaker committee. Let it do its job. Those of us who didn't contest to hold party offices, who now found ourselves here, let's focus on our job too.
The Buhari administration, he added, is mindful of providing equal development across the country. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
Away from Nigeria, Russia's Sputnik 5 vaccine 91.4% effective. And Donald Trump accepts a formal U.S. transition should begin for President-elect Joe Biden to take office. Uche Ugochukwu brings us more on the global scene.
Russia says its Sputnik V coronavirus vaccine is more than 91% effective, according to the latest data from its ongoing phase 3 trials. Meanwhile, countries across Europe are still battling the second wave of coronavirus pandemic, with intensive care unit facilities being overstretched in Germany and Italy proposing vaccine distribution at the end of January. More than 1.4 million lives have been lost to COVID-19 globally, as collated by the Worldometer Coronavirus Dashboard at 6 p.m. local time. Africa records 50,107 deaths, while Nigeria accounts for 1,168 fatalities from its 66,439 infections. Away from the pandemic, reports say United Nations aid workers have warned that emergency relief supplies are running out in the Ethiopian region of Tigray after weeks of fighting there. A spokesman for the UN Humanitarian Affairs Agency said it had been blocked from sending staff or supplies. A new temporary U.S. travel rule, which will be effected 24th December, stipulates that citizens of 15 African countries will have to post bonds of $15,000 to visit the U.S. U.S. State Department said the 6-month pilot program, which targets those on both visitor and business visas, will serve as a deterrent to those who overstay their visas. And on U.S. politics, Donald Trump has accepted a formal U.S. transition should begin for President-elect Joe Biden to take office. The president said the federal agency overseeing the handover must do what needs to be done, even as he vowed to keep contesting his election defeat. It came as Mr. Biden's victory in the state of Michigan was officially certified. That does it from here. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
Empowering women living with HIV is crucial in achieving the 90-90-90 target due to the role of women in the society. This was the stand of the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, and other stakeholders at a press briefing ahead of the December 1, 2020 World AIDS Day.
As early as this week, as I'm saying, flagging up this project at various communities to empower women living with HIV/AIDS who are indigent. This NACA is determined to continue until the end of the year, and in 2021.
The UN Joint Team on AIDS, along with partners including communities, are working to ensure steps needed to combat COVID-19 while also delivering essential HIV testing, prevention and treatment services in both traditional and novel ways are maintained.
Achieve a significant improvement in terms of putting a number of people on treatment, and
1.9 million people are estimated to be living with HIV in Nigeria, majority of them women, children and the youth, although the prevalence has dropped to 1.3%. The need for continued testing is also highlighted as key to ending HIV infection and transmission with the aid of the self-testing technique and community sensitization. This informs the theme, United to End HIV in the midst of COVID-19. Get tested. Stakeholders in judiciary have called for proper adoption of the administration of criminal justice by states in Nigeria. They made the call at the review and validation workshop of the Administration of Criminal Justice Laws case analysis project organized by the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies in Abuja. Austin Anyebe reports.
The workshop was to assess the application of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act in judicial decisions at state levels. However, there was no consensus on implementation in states that have adopted the Act, as some judges still do not make reference to the provisions of the Act while writing judgments. This is a major concern among stakeholders in the legal profession. Director General, Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, Professor Mohammed Tawfiq Ladan said it's a work in progress, as 26 states have so far adopted the Act, and with more capacity building for legal practitioners, there will be improvement in the application of the provisions of the Act.
There are actually states that have just, adopted ACJA as part of their state laws, but they are yet to internalize the provisions of ACJA as comprehensive, complex, and innovative as the law is. Second, they also need rules of court to help them or guide them in the application of the laws, in the course of their proceedings.
The Institute unveiled publications carried out in the past 3 years in 16 states of the country under the MacArthur Foundation. The project seeks to contribute to improving government's ability to effectively respond to cases of corruption by strengthening the capacity of legal professionals to enforce core elements of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act that support the anti-corruption crusade. In Abuja, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari rejoices with Prince Arthur Eze on the occasion of his 72nd birthday. The president joins family, friends and well-wishers in celebrating a man who has devoted his resources to helping those in need, reaching out generously to underprivileged people and families, communities, religious and health institutions. As an accomplished businessman, President Buhari is delighted that Prince Eze has used his massive investments in the oil and gas sector across Africa to contribute to the development of the nation's economy. The president prays God Almighty to grant him good health, happiness, and peace. And now sports. Bikers embark on COVID-19